Hello, this is Dr. Alan Yim. In this video, I'm going to explain a little bit about how the diatonic chords are used in a sequence to create a chord progression. So first of all, here I have listed the major diatonic triads. And you probably know that the most important one is the tonic chord. I'm going to make a little bit of a universe here, and this is the way this works. So the chords that go around the tonic chord are the ones that have the biggest pull. So the 5 and the 7 chord really want to go to 1. And then the next one out would be 2 and perhaps 4. And then the next level would be 6, and then at the very outer part of the universe here, 3. So 1 is at the center of the universe. This is our goal. Chords that are closer to the middle, like 5, have a very strong pull to 1. If you listen to this, that's a 5-1. Also 7. Let me play. Okay, so this is a 7. As we move out to 2, 6, and 3, the pull gets a little bit weaker. And if I go all the way to 3, 3 doesn't necessarily feel like it wants to go anywhere. That definitely doesn't go directly to 1, but it could go to 6, 2, 5, 1. Okay. The most important progression that we're going to learn about today is this progression here. Oops, let me get it. So starting from 1 out to 3. This is the most important part of this. And as you can see, as we move towards 1 in this direction, the pull to 1 gets stronger. So the progression is 3, 6, 2, 5, 1. 3, 6, 2, 5, and 1. In the key of C, E minor, A minor, D minor, G, and C. I'm only playing these as triads right now, but you could also make them 7th chords as well. Okay? Now, looking at the Roman numerals, you may notice that there is a pattern, and that pattern is a root motion of a 5th down. So I'm going to write this first of all so you can see what it looks like. 3, 6, 2, 5, 1. I highly recommend that you memorize this. In the key of C, of course, E minor, A minor, D minor, G, and C. You could transpose this to any key you like, but this is called the circle progression. Basically, you can think of it as the circle of fifths. So, but I'm always going to refer to this as the circle progression. Okay, the circle progression E, A, D, G, C. You may recognize this as part of bead G, C, F, right? So this is the motion of fifths, like around the circle of fifths. Okay, so 3, 6, 2, 5, 1. Well, what about 7 and 4? How do they fit into this progression? Well, 7, let's take a look at a couple of chords here. So again, in the key of C. 5 is GBD. If I put a 7th on top of it like this, we can recognize this is G7. And the top part of that, if I just write the upper part of that chord, that is 7. That's B diminished. Now, we're not going to normally use this in this inversion. We'll usually use it in first inversion, but so maybe I'll just show you that right now. Instead of having it look like this, I'll take the F and put it down here, and put the D down here, and we'll use this part of the chord. We'll get rid of these top two notes. Whoops, not all three. This one here. And then we'll change this to B diminished over D, and we'll change it to 7/6. That's the inversion that we'll normally use. Okay, I'm going to make a little chart now to show you how all of these chords fit together. So just keep in mind, this is the most important, 3, 6, 2, 5, 1. That's the circle progression. That's this arrow here, moving from the outer edges of the universe to the center. Okay, so here's the entire chart. 3 goes to 6, goes to 2, and I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. No, sorry, let me do this again. Whoop. Goes to 2, goes to 5. Oh, you know what? I had that right. Goes to 1. Okay, so there you see the circle progression part at the bottom. Up above, we now know that we can substitute 7. I'm going to go ahead and put the 6 there to make it a little bit clear that we're going to always use that triad in first inversion. And now let's look at the substitution for 2. Here we are in the key of C. 2, of course, is D minor. If we put the top part of it there to make it a 7th, it becomes obvious, maybe, that the upper part is a 4 chord, F. So the substitution for 2 is 4. Now, we could go this way also, from 4, which is the weaker, to 2, or 7 to 5. We could also go this way, from 4 to this next chord, whether it be 7 or 5, and 7 can go to 1. Now, there are a couple of extra little things. 3 sometimes goes to 4, and 5, we've already seen this, sometimes goes to 6. This is almost the entire chart. Okay, 1, this means can go anywhere. So, goes anywhere. Now, you can start at any chord. So when you're writing a phrase, you're writing a piece of music and here's the phrase, you can start with any chord you like. So when you get to the end of the phrase, most phrases end with 5 or with 1. But sometimes you see in the deceptive cadence, sometimes you end with 6. Once you get to the end here, the next chord can be anything. So just keep that in mind in the progression. And other than that, this is the norm. So if you wanted to say start on a 2 chord, maybe your progression might be 2, 5, and 1. Okay, this is just a guideline, and chords don't always have to follow this pattern. So another possibility is that you could have other sequences that are created by other intervals. So this is using fifths, but you can also set up other. So this is 5th down, 4th up. Okay, so that's what this pattern, the circle pattern is. 5th down and 4th up. So. Right? Or you can go the other way around. So there's all different possibilities. If you set up a pattern, you could even go linearly, like 3, 2, 1 is possible. Sorry. So if you set up a pattern in your chord progression, that also can sound good. Lastly, I will show you what the minor version of this looks like. It's very, very similar. We're just going to substitute some diatonic chords. in minor. So let's go here and take a quick look at this. The minor version is 1, 2 diminished, 3, 4, 5. Now remember 5 stays the same because we're using harmonic. 6 and 7 diminished, which also stays the same. So the diagram is the same for the 3, 6, 2, I'm going to invert that, 5, and 1. So this is, okay, and whoops. So this part of the chart is exactly the same, just changing the qualities for minor. I'll put 4 up here and 7. I'm using the harmonic minor, as you can see. This all is the same. There's that arrow, and this goes like this. Okay, this goes like this. Alright, so this is the minor version. The only addition to this is that sometimes way, way, way out here you get 7. Okay, so this is the one with lowered 7. And we'll talk more about this later. But this is really 5, 1 in the relative minor, in the relative major, excuse me. Okay, so back up here in major, keep in mind, again, as we go out to the edge of the universe where 3 is at the very edge, we don't see this chord so often. Composers like to stay more on this side, okay, right? Why? Because close to the middle of the universe, in the center here, close to 1, you have a strong pull to 1, right? Or push, what do you want to say? Strong pull or push to 1. So when you hear this chord, right, it sounds, especially 5-1 or 5-7-1, it really has a lot of pull because of these 2 half steps in it. So, but 3 again shares 2 notes with the 1 chord. Shares, right, mi and so. So the 3 chord, it just doesn't have any. It only has 1 note that moves. So this is not really pushing any direction. So the 3 chord is not used so often. Okay, and that's the difference over here. On the right, on the minor, this is more common than in major. Okay. We'll be working a lot with these progressions, so it's really important to memorize these 2 charts so that you understand where the chords are going to normally progress toward. And when you're analyzing music, and both analyzing and writing, this is important to know. Okay, that's it for this video. Go and memorize these 2 charts, and we'll be working on these for at least, well, really throughout theory. Thanks for watching.